Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome. My name is Aiden. I am so happy that you're here. Today I have my palette roundup for the month of November. I'm way behind because life and grading and finals and everything else, so we're squeezing it out before the end of the month, but just by the skin of my teeth. I have been working on my December one, so I will have to film that one here very shortly. Hopefully I'll get it up earlier in the month than what happened this month. We're going to do things a little differently this month and next month. I have been ranking all of my palettes and kind of going through them from my least favorite to my favorite. I didn't rank them this month, last month or this month, for a number of reasons. One, there's just so many. I'm using a lot of single, not single, but 5-pan or lower. So I'm only using them once or twice. So I have 17 palettes that I used in November. I'm trying to think of what month it is. And my nose looks so shiny. So I did 17 palettes last month. This month, there's a whole bunch as well. So that's part of it. Part of it is as the month started off fine, but then as the month went on, my mom started getting sicker, and then around the middle of the month, she went into the hospital. And while I was still kind of writing down what I wore, I didn't think about ranking where I would put them, and my notes are a little all over the place, scattered. So there's that. Same with December. I've been trying them out and wearing them all, but I'm not going to try to think about ranking them because that's a little bit more brain power than I want to use right now. As for my mom, she's still in the hospital. She seemed to be making some progress at one point, and they keep switching her between hospitals, and the one, she was getting therapy every day, swallowing therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. And this other one, their therapists and their doctors work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, take off holidays, take off days after holidays, take off every weekend. So she really hasn't been getting the amount of therapy. And they're a little understaffed because I don't think they want to hire more people. I don't think they want to have a full-time. I do understand that they're much smaller in scope, but also she's not progressing, she's regressing. And I don't know if she's ever gonna get out of the hospital. And I'm trying not to think about it, and I'm trying to stay positive, and yeah, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if she's ever anything. And I've been trying not to think about all the things that we might never do again, because she's really my best friend. And she was always up for everything. If my friends wouldn't go and do stuff, they didn't want to go to concerts or Comic-Con, she was always up for going and being on an adventure with me. We have so many of the same tastes, and so it's we didn't watch Call the Midwife together on Christmas Day, partly because it was my dad's night at the hospital. But she could watch it, but she's just been sleeping mostly. Kind of watching sometimes and a few words here and there. But it's been really hard. So let's talk about these eyeshadow palettes. We're going to start with the ones that I started with at the beginning of the month. I'm going to swatch them both together because they're only 5 shades each, and we'll talk about them. Okay, our first 2 palettes are both Natasha Denona palettes. This first one right here is the Rose and Wood palette, and it has 4 shimmers and 1 matte. This one came in an Ipsy. Well, you could have bought it in an Ipsy could have gotten it in Ipsy, but I ended up buying it. So there are the shades. I really liked this one. I said the gorgeous shimmers. That was all I said. So I really liked this one. It is definitely one that is staying in my collection, and I need to work on wearing it more because those shimmers are too good to neglect. The next one I have is the Ayana palette, which is another one that was made for Boxy / Ipsy. And here we go over on this side. And I said the shimmers are nice. I don't love the tones of the shades in here. So I don't know. This one, it's kind of a, I don't know. I just don't love the mix of shades. We got some weird, it's a weird mix of cool and warm tone, and I'm just not feeling it too much. Am I going to declutter it? No, I'm not planning to declutter it because I still think it's useful, and I could probably mix and match the two of them, which was kind of my plan with them anyway. But yeah, those are the first two that I wore in November. The next palette I used was the Huda Nude Obsessions Light palette, and I've had this one for absolutely forever. Oh, I should show you what it looks like. It does have some divots in it. I know you probably can't tell, but especially that middle one, which is right here, that has a divot in it because it's definitely a shadow that I reach for, and probably was reaching for that outside of this palette as well. So what did I say about this one? I said very pretty. I love seeing the shimmers throughout the day. The mattes are a little light, especially like this one right here. You can barely see, but it does have, like, they're really pretty shimmers, and it is one that I'm really happy that is in my collection. Okay, next up I used one of my Maybelline City Mini palettes. This was with Shayla. I still don't know who Shayla is, but here we go. That is what the palette looks like and what the 6 shades look like. They look fine on my hand. They looked fine on the eye, but so much fallout. There was so much fallout. The colors are okay. The shimmers were mid when you got them on, but especially like this one, I had so much fallout. And then it blew over my chair. Like, I have a chair sitting next to me, and I had hunks of it on the chair. There was just so much fallout. So this is one I think I'm going to declutter. Yeah, we're going to declutter this one, and I feel bad because I'm decluttering it because it's Maybelline, and I probably should declutter some of my Natasha Denona, but I just like those a little bit more. So we're decluttering the Maybelline. All right, next up we have the mini Zendo palette from Natasha Denona, and here it is. I said it is just so pretty, and it's just perfect. I really like the colors. Like, the green you would think is not always quite me. Why am I closing it? I don't know. But it shifts. And so when I was looking, I was like, oh, it looks almost gray, but then it looks a little green. It's really pretty. And I really like the mattes in here as well. Just, you got a good variety, and I feel like I got some nice looks out of it. So it is definitely one that I would recommend. If I was ranking, it would be probably higher up in the ranking. The next palette I was using is the Too Faced Major Love palette. This is one of their little 8-pan tin palettes. Was trying to collect all of these. I didn't collect all of them because I didn't like that Light My Fire. It looked kind of cheesy. Same with Kitty Likes to Scratch. So those ones, they were a little too much for me. Anyway, what did I say? I said pretty enough. The shimmers have fallout. Powdery mattes, not in love with the greens. So here we go. Yeah, I did find that as I was going, that there was some fallout. Not as bad as the last one that I was talking about, the Maybelline. But I really do, like, that's a pretty almost satiny type shimmer. I do like the mattes in here, the pink, the brown. Those are nice. The green is not my favorite. I don't remember what I thought of this green, but it's definitely not that green was a fan of. So yeah, it's a save, but kind of saved by the skin of its teeth save. Next up is the Tartiste Pro To Go from Tarte. This is a little 6-pan. This is probably one of my first like higher end palettes that weren't drugstore, that weren't like from BoxyCharm, I guess, because that's kind of where I started. BoxyCharm, Ipsy, Birchbox, and then this one I remember seeing in Macy's and being like, oh, I saw somebody talk about this on YouTube, and I bought it. So this one, I said, very pretty. The shimmers last well. The mattes are a bit powdery, but overall it still is working well, and it gave me a surprise. I wasn't sure what to think about it. The mattes, are they my favorite matte shades? No. The Color Story is not quite my favorite, but I feel like it still works as a color story, and it's one that I reach for. You know, if I was ever going to pan a palette, this would probably be like a good one to think about panning, because it is only 6 pans and they're kind of versatile. So yeah, it's staying. It's doing its job still. We are back with another palette from Pat McGrath, in the grand scheme of things, not today. So this is the Midnight Voyage palette. I said I'm not crazy about the shades story. The pretty light shimmers, they were fine. I don't love this color story. So this one, I love the packaging though. Like, it's so pretty, and I do like that it's compact, but I think I'm going to declutter this one. It's not my favorite type of Pat McGrath formulas, and I think, you know, one of my friends might get more use out of it. This one came in a, like, I bought a big gift set thing, or maybe Cult Beauty or something, and this was one of the things in it, and I was really excited about it, but it's not my favorite. So you think I would really like it with the colors, but I just didn't feel comfortable in the colors. So that feels weird to say. But yeah, I think I am going to declutter it. I have 2 more mini Natasha Denona that I'm putting together. They weren't used back to back, but I just want to save time swatching a little bit. Sorry. So first up, we have the Natasha Denona Mini Retro, and that is over here on this side, so you can see, well, opposite. Very, very pretty. I said very pretty, exclamation point, and I love the look. I don't think I used that green shimmer, but I'm pretty sure I used this shimmer, and oh my gosh, that is such a beautiful, beautiful shimmer. The dark green is almost brown enough. Like, it doesn't look as green. Ooh, now it looks green, but it doesn't look quite as green as it does in the pan when you put it on. So I think that helps out as well with that. The other one I used was the Mini Star palette, and this one has some nice colors to it as well. So I said I like it all right. Good matte, and the shades. Yeah, I like the mattes. This one, this blue brown, is actually pretty. I like the middle 3 are my favorite. I don't love this one on the end, and you know, the blue brown, certain light, it looks better, I feel like, on me than in other lights. So not my favorite from Natasha Denona, but both solid choices if you like the color stories. Next up, we have a new palette in my collection, and this is from Sephora. I don't see this on the Sephora website. I never saw it on the Sephora website, but I did see it on the Sephora and Kohl's website, and that's when I purchased it during the sale when it was 30% off, and this was pretty inexpensive. It's a tin packaging. It's pretty nice. You can pull out the eyeshadows actually if you would like. So that's what it looks like, and here they all are swatched. I said so pretty with an exclamation point. The shimmers are nice, all in caps, because they have a real way about them, and they last really well. The mattes were okay. They weren't as exciting, but they weren't bad. They just weren't like, ooh, those are really good mattes. But the shimmers lasted really well, because I was wearing this when my mom went into the hospital, and I wore this for a long time before I washed my face, and it lasted pretty darn well, all things considered. So yeah, I don't know what other things are in this formula, but this is a nice formula. So if you see this, I would recommend it. And it just says 9 eyeshadow palette. And that's what it said when I was looking at it, my receipt on my email too. So yeah, it's a nice little palette. Next up, we have Flamingo Frost or the Ultimate Flamingo Frost from NYX. I got this last year because, well, the flamingos, so cute. And my mom loves flamingos. So anytime there's flamingos, we have a tendency to pick them up because they're cute. And this is what it looks like. You have 16 shades in here. Some of these are not considered eye safe. So shade 4, shade 5, of course, shade 11, and shade 13. So all of the pinks are not considered eye safe, which is kind of funny. Those are some of my favorite shades in terms of this color story. So I said, not that great. The white shimmer is bad. That's this one up here on the top. It's kind of powdery. It doesn't look like a shimmer. It just kind of looks like somebody blew something over you, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to say that, but not happy about that one. Not crazy about the shimmers overall. Like the pink, I feel like was okay. This one was okay. I don't know if I wore that one, to be honest, but like this green there's a couple different formulas in here, and the one is more chunky, but also just not really showing up that well. Just don't love it. Am I going to get rid of it? If it didn't have flamingos on it, I would get rid of it, but I'm definitely keeping it. Probably going to move it into like my collector stuff, the things that I don't wear or have in my rotation, but things that have a special place in my heart. So those flamingos are definitely going to have a special place in my heart. We're back with a couple more. First up is Pat McGrath Labs. This is the Sunset Romance palette that came out last year for holiday. I think it was last year. No, maybe it was 2 years ago. This is gorgeous. This is so good. I got this one from Ulta, and oh my gosh, the mattes are so creamy in here. Ooh, I do have some fallout with it because these are very creamy, flaky shimmers as well. So light touch when you use them, but really beautiful payoff with them. I love the way the shimmers. I love the mattes on this one as well. So that was this one over here. Over on the other side is one of the Glossier trios. I picked these up because they were 50% off for Black Friday. I was like, well, let's give them a go. And this is the almond one. I said it was all right. I need to practice with it some more. I wasn't crazy about the look that I came up with. There is a little bit of change in the shades, but I struggled with the way that it looked. Wasn't crazy about it, but yeah. So not a love. We'll see. I'm gonna practice with it some more and see how I feel. We are getting close. I have 3 palettes left. We're going to talk about 2 of them right now. So first up, we have the Coral palette from Natasha Denona. This was one that she did release. I know I got it on clearance because these were $48, and yeah, that's a lot. It is very pretty. I like the formula on it. That purple is a nice kind of punch because those other 2 are very dark, so it does lighten it up a little bit, gives it a little bit of a fun pop of color. Anything else? I said it's beautiful. I really like the formula, and I do feel like the ones that they did for BoxyCharm can be hit and miss in the formula. Some of them feel like normal quality, some of them feel like a little less quality. So now we're going over here on this side, and this is the Cupid palette. This I think was one of the first that they did for BoxyCharm, and you have some mattes in there. As you can see, like that one top matte looks a little patchy. You can blend it out though. There is a couple of shimmers in here. I like the lighter shimmer much more than the darker shimmer because I'm just not a big into darker shimmers. So I said this is okay, a bit hard to blend. Whew. had some fallout from it. So it's an okay palette. Not my favorite. I like this shade because that's more of a shade that I wear on a regular basis. And yeah, let's one more look at this one. This one's here. So not quite the same quality. I would say the Cupid or the Coral has a better formula than the Cupid. Okay, we are at the last palette of the month. It is not my favorite palette, but it's definitely one that is staying in my collection. It is the Marc Jacobs Terrific palette. This one was one of his last ones, I think the second to the last palette, and I really wanted this. It was very hard to find. It seemed to sell out really fast on Sephora, and I found it at TJ Maxx, and it unfortunately this shade was broken, and it is a very soft formula, so I just squished it back together, but I wish it was perfect, but it's not. So here we go. There are all of my shades. I said very pretty, a bit messy, especially this shade. Love the colors, but not feeling it right now, and that could have been, you know, the time of the year that I was wearing it, and the very end of November. Could also be like everything that's going on in my life. Wasn't crazy about trying to make looks with it. I don't remember wearing that purple shade, but that looks super pretty. I should give it a go. So that's it for all of my November palettes. That was quite a few. Sorry I didn't rank them, but my brain, that was beyond me, and trying to think about where all of these would be. That's going to happen again in December. And then hopefully January. I don't know what we're going to do in January because I do have a few palettes that I got, but I don't want to fly home with a whole bunch of palettes from my parents, like the ones that I haven't used. That was the plan, was I was going to finish them out. So we might take a break. We might do some with the new palettes and then kind of take a break until I don't know when. Well, I have no idea what's going on with my life. So that's fun. There's one of the things we might be considering is if we need to have a full-time carer, it would be cheaper for me to quit my job and to just take care of my mom. It would be less money than hiring somebody. What is that on my leg? So that's a possibility. I know nobody would love her more than my dad and I, but we'll see what happens. The big problem with that is if I ever want to come back, having a gap of however long in employment. So, but yeah, I'm not making very much money at all right now as an adjunct, and I had an opportunity to teach at another school this past semester, and I was trying to figure out how to do it and how to make sure I was there for my mom's, because, you know, taking her out and making sure she wasn't alone all the time. And I was like, this is too much. I can't figure out how to do it both. And I am so glad that I had that breakdown, and I also had that permission from my mom that she was like, you shouldn't take it. You're stressing out so much about this, and all the things that we had wanted to do and we wouldn't have been able to do. We did a few of them, but you know. So we'll see what happens. You'll get another palette roundup in December, and then we'll figure out what goes on from there, from December and January. Anyway, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.